Okay, hi, this is our contrastive analysis project on Haitian Creole. So Creole is a pidgin language. Pidginized languages are created when two groups who don't speak the same language need to communicate with one another. This happened a lot through history, mainly in acts of trade. The end result of a pidginized language is Creole, so that was important to include some information about that. And usually Creoles are not spoken in formal school settings, but they actually are in Haiti. So Haiti is on the western portion of the island of Hispaniola, which was colonized by the French in the 17th century. It's a language that's been spoken by millions of people in Haiti and also in the diaspora outside of Haiti. It's a vernacular language, so it was started off as mainly a spoken language, but as I just mentioned, it actually is used in a written and formal setting now in Haiti. It is primarily based in French because it was created as a language for the French colonizers to communicate with the enslaved Africans who were brought to the island to work on the sugar plantations. But they have influences from those Western African languages and also of the indigenous languages of the Taino people who lived on the island before colonization. It's actually believed that because Haiti gained independence as the first real successful slave rebellion in the early 19th century, the very early 1800s, that's one of the reasons why it has more African influence than other French Creoles, because they were able to get independence, and it was the act of using and speaking in that language was viewed as an act of resistance. This is just some basic things about the writing system, which Nicole will talk about a little bit later. But there's no X or Q in the alphabet, and C only appears when there's a CH, but it's used with the sh sound. There were a lot of attempts to write in Creole, dating all the way back to the 18th century, but at the time it was pretty much the process was taken over by the French, so the writing system was attempted to look like French. And then the 1940s, there was kind of like a resurrection with writing where they try to focus more on the actual sounds of Haitian Creole separate from French. There are three main regional differences. So the northern dialect, which is Cape Haitian, which is the northern part of Haiti, the central part in Port-au-Prince, which is the capital, and then the southern dialect, which is in Cays, which is down here. And also, like, depending on how formal the setting is, the spectrum can be either very informal settings where it's very far from French, or very formal settings where sometimes it sounds a little bit more like French. And these are just some interesting facts. So like I mentioned, this is one of the few Creoles that is actually used in formal settings like schools and public churches. There's been a huge movement to increase literacy rates in Haiti in Haitian Creole, not just in French. And these two things about grammar, Nicole's going to go into some more detail, so I'm not going to talk about right now. But we thought it was interesting that the words mambo, voodoo, and zombie, which are really common in English, come from Haitian Creole.
Hi, I'm Nicole, and I'll be talking about some of the linguistic pieces. First up is phonology. There are a total of 32 phonemes in Haitian Creole. Some sources will say otherwise, but this seems to be the most agreed upon number. There are 10 vowel phonemes. There's a combination of oral and nasal, whereas in English we have all oral phonemes. There are 20 consonant phonemes. You'll see that a lot of the letters look very similar to English. Both English and Haitian Creole is based on a Latin alphabet, and some of the stops, fricatives, affricates, and approximants are the same. Included on this slide is a video that can be watched at another time if you would like to hear how the Haitian Creole alphabet is pronounced. Just trying to click to the next slide here. Continued with Haitian Creole phonology, there are at least 3 distinct dialects: Northern, Central, and Southern. Central is the most popular, most frequent, since that is what is used in the capital. It is a very phonetic language. The words are typically spelled just how they sound. Each letter has only one sound. And you can see in the images on this slide that the letters do in fact look very similar, as I already mentioned on the previous slide. When comparing the two languages, you'll notice that both languages have some similar sounding words. That's due to both languages being based on French words. I've included a chart on the side. For example, you'll see in English, biscuit, biscuit, radio, radio, and it may be pronounced slightly different, but you'll see that they're incredibly similar. In Haitian Creole, all letters make only one sound, whereas in English, letters make multiple sounds. For an example, there's a hard G in gate, but a soft G in giraffe. English has 44 phonemes, whereas Haitian Creole has 32. There are no silent letters in Haitian Creole. As Maia already mentioned, the Haitian Creole alphabet does not contain the letters C, Q, or X. Haitian Creole, the TH sound does not exist in Haitian Creole. And while there are many English words that end with a consonant cluster, that's very rare in Haitian Creole. Due to everything that has been discussed, you'll notice some common difficulties among Haitian Creole speakers. You'll notice that when a word contains R as the last sound, those speakers may often delete that sound. You'll also notice difficulty pronouncing the TH sound, and that goes for whether it is voiced or unvoiced. Speakers may substitute that sound for T or for S. Another possibility is to substitute the unvoiced version of TH for a D. It's also common for Haitian Creole speakers to omit one of the ending sounds when a consonant cluster appears at the end of a word. I've also included here some common sound substitutions. Next up is morphology. Haitian Creole is a very analytic language. That means word order is what is mostly used in order to convey meaning versus using inflections. In terms of plurality, the nouns do not change form to indicate plurality. Instead, Haitian Creole will use a definite article. For example, Haitian Creole uses the word yo after a noun to indicate that the noun is in fact plural. For example, machine nan is the car. However, when you change it to machine yo, it becomes the cars. For verb tenses, the actual verbs themselves do not change. Instead, a particle is included. There are 3 separate particles, one for present tense, one for past tense, and one for future. As already discussed, Haitian Creole is an analytic language, so is English. However, even though English is considered analytic, it does use inflectional morphemes much more so than Haitian Creole does, which presents a challenge for speakers. For example, we do add S or ES to the endings of nouns to show plurality, and we also may add endings to show tenses for verbs such as ED and ING. Some of these difficulties have already been touched upon when going through the previous slides, but speakers will show difficulty when trying to indicate that a noun is plural or to indicate when a verb is taking place, if it's happening right now or past or present, due to the rules in both of these languages being different. Up next is syntax, which has to do with word order. The correct word order for Haitian Creole is subject, verb, object. In other words, Nicole drinks hot coffee. That would be the correct word order. However, the definite article is placed after the noun in Haitian Creole. For example, machine yo. Machine translates to car, yo translates to the, and you'll notice that the comes after. Un is the definite article indicating that a noun is singular, similar to the words a or an functioning before a singular noun in English. The word un would be placed before the noun. There is no gender distinction for pronouns. In Haitian Creole, yo is used for the English they, them, their. And the word li is used for all of the following: it, its, he, him, his, and she, her, hers. So there is no distinction. Adjectives are usually placed before the noun, but sometimes are placed after. English as well follows the same word order, subject, verb, object. The difference is in the placement of definite articles, as already mentioned, and also that Haitian Creole pronouns do not distinguish between gender, whereas we do, in fact, do that in English. So we will have words such as he, him, and she and her, which does not exist in Haitian Creole. Another interesting one is that Haitian Creole does not contain a form of the English verb to be, which are the words am and are. So, for example, I am happy. The English verb to be am would not be included in that sentence. Questions are often indicated by intonation rather than specific question words. Due to everything that I mentioned, here are some common difficulties. Misusing the English gendered pronouns. So, maybe using the word her when the word him should have been used instead. Speakers may omit plural endings on nouns. So rather than saying cats, they may say just cat. Misplacing demonstratives is another one. So using the word this or that in the wrong location. Misplacing adjectives. That would be placing the noun, placing them after the noun rather than before. So saying dog fluffy instead of fluffy dog. Omitting endings on verb tenses. So, for example, I walked yesterday instead of I walked yesterday. And finally, another difficulty may be remembering to use question words such as do at the beginning of question sentences.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm going to be continuing with the language portion of the analysis. So we're going to get into Haitian Creole semantics. There's 5 different words for the word the. And you can see what they are there: a, la, on, non, and lan. Word order, like Nicole was saying earlier, the article comes after the noun. So instead of saying the school, it would translate to school the. And then there's the rules for what the to use at what times. The rule focuses on nasal and non-nasal word endings. And you can see below when those would be used. Semantics compared to English. Like in English, prepositions are placed before the word or phrase and are used to express things like location, time, direction, and manner. Unlike in English, Haitian Creole speakers will drop to when it comes to direction or infinite clauses. And there's some preposition examples that you can look at in the table below. The difficulties that Haitian Creole speakers may have with semantics are articles and prepositions. Again, Haitian Creole speakers will drop the word to when discussing direction and infinite clauses. In English, there's only one word for the, so Haitian Creole speakers may have difficulty with this concept and maybe at times overthink the language. For plural nouns, like Nicole was saying earlier, we just add an S or an ES in English at the end of a word, but in Haitian Creole, they change the word the to represent that it's more than one. And finally, words that are combined are shortened with an apostrophe, or when stating that someone's possessing something with an apostrophe S, that may create some difficulty for Haitian Creole speakers to understand. In terms of pragmatics, you will see pragmatics used in Haitian Creole, but it's mostly idioms. There are many sayings that are used in Haitian Creole that have different meaning than what's really being spoken. Many of these sayings use cultural references and use humor to help get the point across. And many of these sayings are used as conversation starters and provide wisdom or advice to whoever they're speaking to. In compared to English, most of the pragmatics used in Haitian Creole are idioms and cultural references. Pragmatics are mostly used for humor and advice in Haitian Creole. One common idiom used in Haitian Creole means when the chickens will have teeth, which is very similar to the expression that we use in English, when pigs fly, meaning never. And another common idiom that is similar to English is what translates to rotten blood. and it means that somebody's extremely angry or are starting to get angry. And in English, we would use the expression of "that makes my blood boil." And then difficulties that Haitian Creole speakers will have in English pragmatics, I think, will come from culture and forms of figurative language like hyperbole, personification, because you don't see those as often in Haitian Creole language. Culture will be difficult as well because many of the pragmatics used may not seem to make much sense to them as they don't experience the same thing that we do here in the United States. That can be anything from animals, beliefs, nature, anything like that. So when we say things, something will never happen, like that'll be the day pigs fly. In Creole, they'll say when chickens have teeth. Although it's the same meaning, they use different animals used to culture and experiences.
All right, so I'm Stephanie, and I'm going to go over the cultural norms and some classroom tips. So Haitian culture is a patriarchal society, so the male is the primary earner and decision maker in the home. Elders are to be respected and viewed as leaders in the community. It's really important to address superiors or persons of status by their title. So you would call them like Dr. Brown, Madame Lemire. You would always use their title and their last name. Friends and family, it's common to address them with nicknames as it's a less formal setting. And punctuality is not viewed as important like it is here in the United States. So being early may be considered rude, but being late is not. It is a high context culture, so context clues like facial expressions, hand gestures, tone of voice, and body language are very important in their communication. And the communication is often indirect or they talk around the point. So direct communication, like we do here, could be perceived as rude. They're also a collectivist culture, so they value the collective group over the individual. Compromise is frequently used in discussions rather than one way or the highway. Working collaboratively to solve problems is encouraged, and extended family members play a critical role in raising families' children, and they may be heavily involved in family matters. In terms of communication rules, personal visits and face to face interactions are preferred over written forms of communication, which is probably related to the fact that Haitian Creole literacy levels are low. Turn taking, cutting people off, and interrupting is disrespectful. The conversation in the room is guided by the oldest person. So starting the conversation, changing topics, and ending it would be looked at by the eldest person in the room. For in terms of wait time, the speaker often immediately clarifies the message rather than waiting to see if their message was understood first. So they will continue to try to explain or re-explain something without knowing if you actually understood what they're saying. Shaking hands is a common way to greet someone who's a stranger or an acquaintance, which is similar to here, but kisses on the cheek are often used for family and friends. In terms of nonverbal behaviors you might see in the Haitian culture, arm length is the most appropriate length of a personal space between strangers and acquaintances, but space between family and friends can be smaller. Light touch is used very frequently in communication, mostly on the shoulders or arms through light touch. For eye contact, direct eye contact shows respect and interest in the speaker, but it can also be avoided when looking at an authority figure. So if we're having conversations with our students, they might not look at us, not to be disrespectful, but as a sign of respect. In terms of silence and voice, long periods of silence in conversation indicate disagreement, disappointment, or disapproval. And the volume during conversations is often loud. In terms of gestures, hand gestures are frequently used in storytelling and conversation. Tongue clicking, also known as a chip, is a sign of protest and disgust and is considered rude. Pointing is also rude. So if you pointed to a student to tell them to come here, they might perceive that as very rude. And then eye rolls, crossing the arms, indicates a disapproval, disappointment, or disagreement with what you are saying. In terms of the classroom impacts, some strengths that the students from the Haitian who speak Haitian Creole might bring to us are they may be able to make connections between Haitian Creole, French, and English. They work well in groups. They're respectful of authority, compromise with peers, have good face-to-face and verbal interactions, strong problem-solving skills, and respond well to I do, we do, you do. Some challenges we might see in the classroom are phonological differences, meaning that some of the letters or sounds do not exist, and in English we have multiple letter sounds. Inflected endings or suffixes may be challenging. Pronouns, word order, the verb to be, articles, and apostrophes may be challenging. Confusion with idioms, cultural references, independent tasks, instruction with limited context or contextual clues, receiving very direct communication or feedback, writing, personal space differences, and silence and wait time could be misinterpreted. For parents, they respect school staff as professionals, they value education, they have strong personal communication skills for verbal interactions and in-person interactions, and they value discipline and respect. Possible challenges may be that written communications might be overlooked, so things like class dojo or sending notices home in their folder, even if translated, might not get the attention that they might from other families. They may have limited engagement with school staff and activities. There may be misinterpretations if we are very direct with our communication with them, as well as silence or wait time. And they also may view the school as interfering when it comes to discipline. They believe that is a home thing, not a school thing. So classroom tips, how can we help our students? Using gestures to accompany verbal information will be helpful. Encourage and explicitly teach them how to ask questions in the classroom. Include songs, rhyming, and storytelling during instruction, and give opportunities for collaborative discussions and problem-based learning. We can also provide explicit instruction in phonemic awareness and phonics. Do not penalize students for pronunciation errors and be mindful of sound substitutions that are common because of the language that they speak. Provide explicit instruction in inflected endings and articles, as well as pronouns, word order, the verb to be, and apostrophes. And be mindful of the use of idioms and cultural references. We know what they say and what we say might mean totally different things, and we might use different animals and references. Using an I do, we do, you do format for instruction is helpful. Being clear about individual versus shared materials, emphasizing quality over quantity. So it's more important to solve less problems accurately than solving 20 problems and rushing through. And be mindful of the type of feedback that you provide students, as you don't want to unnecessarily upset them. For parents, you want to make sure that you still meet with families, even if they're late for a scheduled meeting. As we said, punctuality is not really of great importance for them. Expect to work with multiple generations and welcome them. It wouldn't be uncommon for a grandparent, an uncle, or anyone else in the family to join in on meetings. Parents may be hands off and need encouragement to participate in their education. It's not because they don't care, it's because they trust us. So we need to let them know that it's a partnership. Questions are often not asked, so let them know that questions are encouraged and it helps build a strong relationship. Provide in-person and oral communication as often as possible. They may need extra care, explanation, and time when it comes to students with disabilities, and they may not be receptive to disciplinary action at school, as they think that's the school's job to provide education and their job to discipline. So there might be some conflict there, and we have to be mindful of that philosophical difference. If you have any more questions or anything about, what we talked about regarding Haitian Creole, you can look at our handout or check out any of the references we have below.